So after a week break, we're finally back with chapter 145, and it's actually an entire chapter pretty much dedicated to the Curl Girl's performance. In the movie, she's playing both Kid Ruby and Aqua. We get to see Tsukuyomi's take on the twins, as well as their reactions to her, which are actually kind of funny. But yeah, I'm gonna just get started with the chapter. The chapter starts with us jumping straight into a scene with Kid Ruby screaming at the woman playing Miyako, shouting that she will absolutely not do whatever they're trying to get her to do, basically throwing a complete tantrum. It turns out that they're trying to get her to dance, but she won't do it. Miyako asks why, but Ruby just says she hates it, and screams for her mom. The scene ends there, and then we literally see the Curl Girl back to her normal calm demeanor. The way Tsukuyomi was able to completely change her personality to fit her role is pretty good, not gonna lie. So far so good at least, but after seeing that display, Ruby questions if that's actually how she behaved back then. Tsukuyomi says yes it was, but Ruby denies it. Ruby believes she was actually more mature than everyone around her age, and suggests she gave off child prodigy vibes. Well, maybe Ruby was a bit more mature than those her age back then, when she was in her early years, but I don't think by much. Even the Curl Girl questions if it was just Ruby who saw herself that way. Tsukuyomi says that Ruby was so childish back then that it got to the point where the Curl Girl doubted if Ruby was even reborn. Ruby tells her not to speak as if she knows everything though, and questions if Tsukuyomi was even born back then. Of course, the Curl Girl just giggles, not revealing all the answers just yet. Moving on though, Ruby says that it's so boring, since she thought the Curl Girl was just gonna embarrass herself, trying to overact, and didn't meet expectations. Me personally though, I didn't expect her to pop off, so the Curl Girl has pretty much done well so far. Next up though is the dances scene, an important scene for Ruby, so she wants Tsukuyomi to do it properly. After all, that scene is when I helped show Ruby how to dance as a kid, which allowed her to break past her fear of dancing due to her past as Serena. It's a very important moment in Ruby's development. Then we start with the dance scene. Tsukuyomi wants to punish Ruby, but first, she continues the scene by falling over. She's nearly about to cry just like she did originally, before I arrived and picked her up. But then, the Curl Girl suddenly has a flashback of Serena doing the same thing to her. It's a bit strange, but it will make more sense a bit later. The recording then continues along, with Tsukuyomi even smiling after that memory. And with that, we're at the next recording session, and this time Tsukuyomi is playing a child Aqua. I have to admit this design looks a bit off compared to her Ruby design. It's close enough though. The scene takes place during Aqua's first encounter with Gotanda, I believe. We see when he tries to quickly reassure Gotanda, while exposing how smart he is in the process, due to his frantic speaking. It's funny too cause Gotanda is the one who's recording the scene now, and if anyone knew how the scene played out in real time, it's him. But after that scene, Ruby asks Kana what she thinks, so she explains it to the Curl Girl what she's thinking. Like she should balance out more mystery with cuteness. Kana does say that performance wasn't bad either, but it was too childish. To her, Aqua back then was cute, almost angelic, but in the direction of cuteness. However, Tsukuyomi is annoyed that there's more people spectating her. Kana just goes on though, saying that Tsukuyomi is good, but of course, not as good as her back in the child actor days. And just because the Curl Girl is cute, it doesn't mean she should act cocky. Some words of wisdom coming from Kana. And it was fun to see Kana reminding us who was the best child actor of her generation. She'll never let that go. On the other hand, Ruby gets closer to Kid Aqua, believing that the design actually matches quite well. Back then, Ruby only thought Aqua was a creepy kid, so she didn't give herself much opportunities to see him properly. Ruby then hugs Tsukuyomi, saying she should have paid more attention to her brother back then. Ruby really wishes she could have absorbed it all back when she had the chance. We even got Kana simping in the background, as Tsukuyomi tries to get Ruby to stop hugging her. The Curl Girl does a little pouted face, as Ruby rubs her cheeks against hers. It's kinda cute but a bit weird to see, I can't lie. And it's funny too cause she immediately stops as soon as the real Aqua walks in. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we see them interact since the kissing scene. Ruby already blushing as she says the real thing is the best after all, which is crazy to say, but Aqua just flat out ignores her anyways and tells Tsukuyomi he was watching her performance from the monitor. Tsukuyomi asks Aqua if she has lived up to his expectations, but Aqua actually questions if he seemed that childish too. Even Aqua thinks he was a little more like a child prodigy back then too. Funny how both the twins think that way about themselves, but Tsukuyomi just finds him annoying too. Although, I do agree that Aqua didn't seem to do many childish things where he saw him. As Ruby and Kana then start talking with Aqua, the Curl Girl begins an inner monologue of her own, beginning by saying both of them have always been like that, at least from her perspective. And then we finally get our answer to that flashback, as Serena, the Curl Girl, saw earlier. We get another flashback here, as Serena looking down at a crow that got trapped in a net or something. She questions what's wrong and if it's hurt. That crow is most definitely the crow girl, showing us that she has indeed known the twins since way back then. Goro then shows up as well, telling Serena to hold on for a second. Birds can carry bacteria, so she shouldn't touch them. Of course, Serena's already holding the crow closely. Also, I feel like this is like the first time we actually see Serena outside. That's pretty cool if true, meaning she wasn't completely stuck in her hospital room. But Serena tells Goro that the crow girl seems injured and wants to help her. However, Goro may be a doctor, but he's not a vet. But still, being the kind doctor he is, Goro checks the crow out. Meanwhile, Serena can see that the crow got caught in a net trying to eat some berries and make some light fun of the crow. Goro says it's due to bird eye though, where apparently birds can't see at night. Then soon after, the crow is able to fly again and leaves Goro's hands. As the crow flies away, Serena tells it to make sure to fly properly, while Goro reminds the crow to not be so stubborn about eating. It's pretty wholesome, and we can see how much of an impact they actually had on the crow as they continue to watch them. Like we even see Goro watching Serena ride a bike, and the crow being there to put her hat back on a snowman. It's so bittersweet because we can also see the moment Serena passed away, and Goro still being right there at her side in tears. The crow girl was truly there for all of it. We then come back to the conversation Ruby, Kana, and Aqua were having. Ruby asks Kana what she'd rate Tsukuyomi's acting skills. Kana gives it a 60. To her, the acting is just too cute. It feels like a child's play apparently. Kana says Aqua needs more of something, and Aqua finishes the thought by saying it has to be a sense of intelligence. As they continue to debate about it, Tsukuyomi continues her inner monologue, saying that she may have acted a bit cuter than the real person, but that can't be helped. To her, the twins will always be cheeky and cute children. And that's how the chapter ends, showing that in a way, Tsukuyomi's actually fond of the twins. I'm glad we actually saw that the crow girl has always been there, even as in her crow form. It's pretty cool that Goro and Serena met her way back then too, and I have no idea even now. I wonder if that was actually a test for them to see if they'd help her. Either way, it does seem like from that point, the crow girl has always been watching them. Kinda like a motherly figure in her own way. Definitely not I though, since I was still alive back then. Also, I'm glad we got to see some more Goro and Serena scenes. Besides the death, it was pretty wholesome seeing Goro helping Serena live out the rest of her life happily. You can see why her love for Goro transcended a lifetime. Flashbacks aside, I thought the crow girl did pretty well with her acting. We got to see different sides to her character, and I'm certain she'll continue to be a key player moving forward. But yeah, let me know what y'all thought about this chapter in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. I got some more Oshi content here too you can check out. Peace.